Hey, what's up guys? Got an excellent video blog for you. Got an email last night. Let me read you this email. Let's jump into this real quickly. Good afternoon, TJ. This is Mo from Atlanta, Georgia. I hear it has been a brutal winter in Minnesota this year. Lucky you. Yes, Mo, you've heard correctly, man. It's been rough. Let's see. I would consider myself an athlete, and this past year I've been trying to put on some muscle while also trying to increase my sprinting speed. But all of my friends say that I'll get slower if I get bigger. Is this true? If not, are there exercises or techniques out there that would allow me to continue to hit the weights, but also allow me to run faster? Thank you so much for investing your time for all of us. Stay warm up there, Mo. Mo, man, that's a great question. It's a really, really good question. It's something I certainly relate to being an athlete. It's something I went through as I was a soccer player. You know, I had a bunch of my buddies that were not soccer players, and they weren't really, they're either football players or not athletes, and so they're always in the gym. And here I am being a soccer player, not wanting to hit the weights because I was afraid that I was going to get too big, too slow. I wasn't going to be able to move around, and speed was one of my strengths at the time. So I didn't want to sacrifice my overall quickness because I was afraid. But Mo, I think that is an excellent question. I get a lot of emails around this. A lot of people from, ranging from high school athletes to college athletes and just people in general who want to stay relatively fast and have an overall fitness level, not just big and strong, but they want to be able to run and jump and have that overall agility level relatively high. So Mo, man, I think that's a great question. I certainly appreciate it. I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate. So let's jump into this. I think the underlying question here is, how can I increase my speed? The second question is, will it slow me down if I continue to hit weights? Let me just get one of those questions out of the way. Mo, do not be afraid to hit the weights. You're not going to get slower by adding muscle. In fact, you can get stronger, you can get more muscular, and increase your speed if you train correctly. Yes, if you only hit the weights, never do cardio, you're going to turn into a meathead. But if you train correctly, you can become an excellent athlete in all aspects. So let me kind of break down the elements of speed. The three components of speed consist of stride frequency. How many times are your feet hitting the ground? Okay. The second element would be the stride length. How long? Are they short little strides or are they long strides? And then last but not least, your overall endurance levels. Your body's ability to keep a relatively high, if not maximal level of effort throughout a prolonged period of time. Okay, those are the three components: stride length, stride frequency, and your overall stamina levels, endurance levels, if you will. Now, in terms of utilizing the gym to enhance our speed, while also promoting muscular development, how can we continue to add lean muscle, but condition that muscle to help us run faster? That's what I think the overall question is here. And if we were to break down the three elements, the three pillars of how to approach the gym and improve our body, I would break it into increasing our muscular strength and our stability, i.e. our core. Okay, that would be like the first pillar. Second pillar would be improving and building upon our power, our raw power. And I'm going to break all these down in greater detail. Okay, and that third step is going to be our overall endurance. Okay, very similar to the three components of speed. These are going to be the three components of our focus within the gym, improving our endurance. Okay, so let's break these three down. First one, increasing the muscular strength as well as our core stability. Okay, it's extremely important to have a very strong, stably sound, and flexible body. That flexibility is extremely important, guys. And by strengthening our core, we're going to be able to enhance our overall posture when we run. Strengthening our arms is going to help that pump as we run. And we pump our arms to move faster, right? Improving our strength in our legs. So our glutes, our quads, our hamstrings, our hip flexors, extremely important hip flexors. Those are going to help build power and strength. So when we are in that stride, the moment our feet or our foot hits the ground, that strength and that power is going to release off the ground, creating that propulsion, okay? What haven't I touched on? So I said arms, legs, and then of course our core. That's going to be that's the center of everything that we do. It's stabilization muscles, it's posture, and it's overall our powerhouse that is going to translate into speed, okay? So let's talk about some exercises we can do for these three areas within muscular strength, okay? Our core, our legs, and our arms. If we're going to be building our strength in our legs, you know, this might sound very redundant, very obvious to a lot of people, but some of you guys don't know, so let's focus on it, okay? Increasing our leg strength is going to happen when we do deadlifts, straight-legged deadlifts, also known as stiff leg deadlifts. We can do squats, of course, lunges, box step-ups. We can do, sorry, I'm blanking out. Walking lunges, if I didn't say that. Yeah, I said lunges. So those are the main ones, guys. Deadlifts, straight leg deadlifts, lunges, squats. Those are the main ones that are going to build a lot of strength in our legs, the strength that we need when exploding off the ground. In terms of our arm strength, now that's pretty, you know, go in there and hit your arms, but to specifically target an arm movement for running. I mean, visualize yourself running. If you're running like this, right, translate that into the gym. What exercises simulate or run parallel to that movement in the gym? That's what it's really all about, is improving that formation, right? So look at this. What does that represent? Ask yourself, what is this in terms of arms? What does this represent? Hammer curls, right? So let's do some heavy hammer curls to help that explosiveness, right? When we're pumping our body, it's going to help propel us forward. So heavy hammer curls is going to help promote that. Obviously, some of the other ones, I just like to grab, like if you were to grab some plates, 10-pound plates, sit down just like I'm sitting, sit upright, focus on your core, stabilize your core, back is upright, shoulders back, just like you're running. But you're doing this, and you're holding plates in your hand, okay? And you're working on that. You're working on pumping faster and faster and faster, and as you get better, you can go as fast as you can. You can also do that on the ground. So same thing, but your legs are going to be out. You're going to be, you know, on the ground, and you can kind of gauge the power that you're creating by the lift between, you know, the gap of, you should be elevating yourself off the ground essentially. If you're powerful enough and fast enough, you're going to be bouncing so much that you're coming off the ground. Okay, that's a great exercise to simulate running. Last but not least, enhancing our core. As I mentioned, it's the powerhouse. It's going to be that central piece that holds everything together. It's our stabilizers, it's our posture. It's going to be a vital component when trying to train for gaining speed and increasing speed. So some exercises that are going to help with that are planks, just regular planks, side planks, and then really focus on the lower abdominals. When you focus on lower ab exercises, you're going to be incorporating your hip flexors, and that is what propels you when you're running. You know, that's that upper part up here that's going to be doing a majority of the workload. So focusing on lower abs is not only going to help keep your stomach tight on the lower end, but it's going to help improve that range of motion and the overall strength and flexibility of your hip flexors. So that's step one, guys. That's what you want to focus on when trying to increase your muscular strength and your stability. Step two is improving your power and your explosiveness. Now, it seems very similar to improving your strength, but the difference between strength and power is that there's an element of speed in there. Okay, if I was going to do a squat, or I'll just say a barbell curl, you know, I might be able to lift a 60-pound dumbbell, curling it. That's my strength. But the power comes from the speed when you add the strength and the speed together. So strength is you know, your overall ability to lift it, but your power is your overall ability to lift weight at a high rate of speed. And when speaking about, you know, in terms of running speed, power is all about starting off the blocks, or being able to run off a dead stop, and crossing the line of scrimmage, if you will. Okay, it's all about being at a rested state and exploding out the gate, exploding off the blocks, exploding off the line, being extremely quick. That's muscle reactions, right? It's muscle reactions. Whistle's blown and you're gone. And that's power. So it has to do with reaction, has to do with strength, and it has to do with speed. So that's what we would want to focus on as step 2 when focusing in the gym. Some things that we would want to focus on would be like box squats, okay? We would want to focus on box lunges, jumping box squats, and then overall plyo, so a lot of side-to-side lunges, kind of those ice skater lunges. What am I missing? Just your ladders, of course. The dots, sometimes gyms have dots that are in a particular pattern that you follow with your feet to help your foot speed. That's practicing power. Now, there's not a lot of strength involved, but it's still power in terms of speed and foot movement. So those are some things we want to focus on, is overall plyometrics in the gym to help build that power. So that's step 2. Step 3, guys, that I had mentioned is building your overall endurance, your body's ability to run at a maximal or submaximal level at a prolonged time frame. So how long can we sustain this effort for? That is all dependent upon our endurance levels. Okay. A good way to do this is if you're familiar with HIIT, high intensity interval training. It's a lot like that, but slightly different, whereas in HIIT training, our rest periods are pretty long because we want to elevate our heart rate, elevate our VO2, everything is maxed out. And then we allow some time for it to come back to more of a rested level. So it might look like, in terms of the interval itself, the iteration of sprinting might be 30 seconds. And the iteration of rest might be 1.5 minutes to maybe 3 minutes, depending on your overall endurance levels. So that's how we burn fat with HIIT. But in terms of building our endurance for speed, it's very similar, but the rest periods are a lot shorter. So the work to rest ratio is more like 5-to-1, which is tiring. It's very tiring. But if you do that consistently, your body's going to get used to it, right? And you're going to be able to enhance your endurance levels. And when that becomes easy, then you become faster and you elevate that way. Instead of adding weight on the bar, you elevate your speed, okay? That's the difference. That's like the progressive overload in the gym in terms of adding weight. We're going to progressively overload our speed, our distance, our time, our rest time. Everything is enhanced to make it more difficult, continuously challenging our body to do a faster run, if you will. So those are the 3 steps, guys. Muscular strength, power, and endurance. But before I wrap this up here, Mo, I want to touch on some tips. Now, some of these might be completely obvious to some of you. To the other half of you guys, it might be completely new. So hopefully there's some benefit here. Just going to run through some tips. I wrote down a list, looks like maybe 9 or 10. The first one, guys, in terms of running. So this is kind of, most of these are outside of the gym, but they're still running tips, right? It's going to help increase your speed. So let's jump into this part. Nailing good form, knowing how you run, understanding how you run. You know, like I always mention, guys, I've played on many soccer teams. Everyone has different running styles. Some people are fast, some people are slow. Some people are slow because of form though. So if you're slow because of something so simple and so simple, it could be so easily fixed, then maybe you would want to check out your form, see if that's the case. A lot of guys, rather than running with their arms straight up and down, back and forth, I know a lot of guys that don't use their arms at all. They're just kind of like running, and they're not pumping, and because they're not pumping their arms, they're not generating any power. So it could be something that small that's kind of keeping you back, keeping you in second place. Really getting to know your running form, your posture, your arm power and pump. Maybe it's something so minute that when you're planting your feet, you're planting on your toes or on your heels, maybe on the outside of your foot. You're not getting good plant when your foot connects with the ground. So analyze your runs. Film it, record it, throw your phone on the side, have a buddy record you, just do a couple of sprints. It'll take a minute and you'll see your stature. So give that a try. As well as when you're recording yourself run, try and count your steps. So let's say you do a football field, okay? Do a normal run, see what you do in terms of just kind of test it out, and then be more attentive to how many steps you're doing when you do it the second time. Count every single time your right foot hits the ground, and then multiply it by 2. Or you can record it and count it that way. Hopefully you're running so fast that you can't count, so just do it as you're running. Some of the most efficient runners though, they hit the ground at a cadence of 180 steps per minute, keeping their feet as close as possible. It's not about big, long strides. It's really all about fast little strides, powerful little fast strides. That's going to get you there a lot quicker. That's going to enhance your speed tremendously. Next, to help with increasing your foot speed, besides the plyometrics that I mentioned earlier, what you can do is hop on the treadmill, okay? You're going to want to, so just the natural composition of the treadmill is going to force your body to learn how to make faster steps. Okay, first of all, you can't do massive strides on the treadmill. You'll most likely fall off. So you have to adapt and make shorter steps on the treadmill most of the time, especially if you're on an incline, which you should be. But in addition to that, as the belt is turning and turning and turning and turning, it's forcing your legs to go extremely fast off that, It's like the belt is moving around and it's forcing your feet to hit. Otherwise, you're going to fall. You have no choice but to continue to run as fast as you can. When you're outside in a more controlled environment and it's just you and the flat grass, when you start to tire up, you just start to tire up. But when you start to tire up on the treadmill, that speed is set. You have two choices. You either keep up or you get bucked off, right? So it's going to force you to get faster. It's going to, that's the nature of it. It's going to force you to get faster if you really are willing to maximize the use of a treadmill. Now, when you get that belt spinning, don't be foolish. We've all seen those videos on, America's top stupidest videos, whatever it is. Don't put the treadmill on max incline and then max speed and then jump on. You know what's going to happen. Be smarter than that. Get on the treadmill first and then start to increase the speed. But I hope I didn't, I hope that's not the first time you guys have heard that or figured that out, but you never know. You never know. Where was I? So running on the treadmill. Let's talk about one other way to increase foot speed. How about a jump rope? You see boxers do that all the time, fighters, because they believe fast feet equals fast hands. In terms of running, I don't know, fast feet equals fast feet. Simple enough. Use a jump rope. You can do that anywhere. You don't have to be at the gym to do that, so that's always nice. Another thing, let's focus on our breathing when we run. It sounds so simplistic, which a lot of this stuff does, but there's proper breathing techniques. We want to utilize both our nose and our mouth when inhaling and exhaling because we want to bring in and flush out as much oxygen as possible. Bring in oxygen, let it get to the muscles, and then we exhale, CO2. So big breaths in, big breaths out. Not only that, but it should be fast, really, really fast breaths as we run. The faster we run, the faster we breathe. That's natural. But focusing and learning how to breathe properly is going to help enhance not only your speed, but your endurance, because your muscles aren't going to fatigue as quickly. Okay, so focus on your breathing, and then there's a technique of breathing that you can try when you're running, when you're just sitting. Just give it a try. But a lot of people, we breathe up here, okay? We breathe in our chest, especially when we're running. You know, usually when we're running, our chest is forward and we're running like this. Everything's quick and coming in here. The best runners know how to breathe in their belly. They breathe in their stomach. They bring air in, bring it to their stomach. I mean, picture that cycle, if you will. Breathing in and out just through your chest, right here. Okay? Your muscles are probably just going to get a little bit of that. But if you breathe deeper, getting into your stomach area, much greater cycle of oxygen coming through the body, right? So practice on that. That's going to help you increase your body's endurance. You're not going to fatigue as quickly. A way that we can build power and speed is there's so many different things on the market now in terms of just apparatuses and devices and lack of a better word, toys to help us improve our speed. You know, there's all these ladders, there's all these different cones, and then of course there's like weighted vests and parachutes. I mean, that kind of makes it more fun though, if you know what I mean. Once you try a parachute, you just want to run. Even if you're not in the mood, you throw a parachute on, you just want to run, see if you can drag it along, you know. So it definitely makes things a lot more fun, a little more interesting, a little more entertaining. You know, you get a couple of buddies, go down to the football field, and you just start running sprints. You know, it's just a lot more fun than just plain, you know, going for a dash. So try that out. You can also run up hills. That's going to be a simulation of running on the treadmill on an incline. That's pretty obvious. Being able to run up the hill is going to greater the resistance. It's going to make everything a lot more challenging because it is the greater resistance, greater incline. Your body's going to work a lot harder to go the same distance but at an incline. So give that a try. It's also going to strengthen your legs a lot. But don't run up hills every single time because your body is going to adapt to running up a hill. So you want to vary the inclines. You know, go to flat, mid-range, high. You don't want your hip flexors and your glutes. You don't want your body to conform to just straight high incline all the time because that's going to throw off your posture even when you walk. So varying it up all the time, just like in the gym, guys, when we're hitting weights, constantly creating that variation, making the body adapt so that it can grow, constantly going back and forth between shocking and then we adapt, and then we shock it again and then we adapt, and that's how we improve day over day, week over week, year over year. So try the hills. Another thing, guys, is stretching. Really, I've done a video on stretching, so I'm not going to go into this too much. I've talked about static stretching. I've talked about warm-up stretches, you know, active stretching. In terms of increasing our speed, we really want to focus on our hip flexors. That is a very, very, very important region to have flexible all the time. And then, of course, the rest of our legs and our overall body should be flexible to help promote our speed increase. A great way to get overall body flexibility rather than just 5 minutes after a workout and just stretching the quads and the calves and then heading home. Sign up for some yoga sessions or just practice yoga at home, because not only are you going to increase your flexibility, but you're going to be working on that core, right? And our muscular strength and endurance as we're holding particular poses. And so it's really going to help increase your speed. So give that a try. I know a lot of guys, yoga is kind of more of a girly thing, but it serves a purpose. It definitely serves a purpose. I did yoga a lot when I was playing college ball, so it definitely helps with that muscle endurance, power, strength, not power, but strength and flexibility. And now last but not least, guys, losing weight. There's actually a cool statistic I should read before I shut my computer. Research shows that shedding the pounds, not muscle but fat. When we lose fat, that it can help runners shave time off the clock by an average of 2 seconds per mile per pound lost. So that's quite a bit, 2 seconds per mile per pound lost. That's pretty significant if you do the math. If you're losing 10 pounds, that's a drastic decrease in your time, which is awesome. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Try some of these methods. Remember, it's all about that stride frequency, the stride length, and the endurance of our bodies. And we can utilize those 3 steps to really format our workouts. How can I build strength in my muscles that focus on running? How can I build power? How can I build endurance? And then work around that, creating your workout splits to increase speed. You can still go in there and lift. You can still go in and lift heavy. You can still work to build muscle, lean muscle mass. But maybe towards the end, you do some box jumps. You do some walking lunges, some twisting lunges, getting both the flexibility in the hip flexors, the torso, working on the stability, doing some squats and deadlifts for the strength. And you can really focus on building strength and speed. It can be done, guys. You don't have to worry about getting slow when you add muscle. Guaranteed. Just got to do it right, guys. So, Mo, thanks for that question, man. Great question. Everyone else, I appreciate you watching. Till next time, God bless. Take care. I'm out.